So we are on our way to the airport to SHOT Show in Las Vegas. We are leaving beautiful, sunny, snow-ridden Pennsylvania, and can't wait to get on the plane and hopefully get out of here on time. So we'll see how all that goes, but we'll be basically bringing you more content from SHOT Show when we get to Vegas. So talk to you then.
Be a lady tonight. Luck be a lady tonight. Luck if you've ever been a lady to begin with. Luck be a lady tonight.
As promised, more guests of distinction here in the NRA booth at the 2026 SHOT Show. This time, my distinct pleasure to welcome Dan Cogan, 360 Precision. Dan, welcome.
Thank you for having me. Really appreciate it.
Tell me about 360 Precision.
So we are a higher-end custom firearm. We primarily manufacture semi-auto rifles. I started in the precision world, so shooting PRS style.
Sure.
Competitions. So when we came in and decided to start manufacturing the rifles that we did, and we went into the semi-auto rifles, we wanted to make sure that it was a real high precision rifle, right? Looking for the guys that are looking for that, one MOA or less type of style. And then we also have our competition level rifle that we have that's basically an out of the box solution that you can go shoot those type of matches, any sort of gas gun style match that you want to do. We have an out-of-the-box solution that you can just go, and it has a patented toolless weight system for the handguard that basically allows you to drop and remove 2 pounds on the fly. So you can just drop 2 pounds or add 2 pounds by putting the steel weight into it, and it's completely toolless.
Okay, excellent. The sub-MOA, are we talking in the gas guns also?
In the gas guns, yeah. So gas guns, we give on the Evolution rifle, we have a 3/4 MOA guarantee, 3/4 or less. We give with the box, we will go and test it. We'll do 5-shot groups. At least one of those groups has to be sub 3/4 MOA with factory ammunition. And so we guarantee. And then we actually include the little target that we shot with the ammo that we shot, temperature and so forth, and it gets laminated and it's put in the box with the rifle.
So without giving away the secret, I have to imagine that a lot of that comes in the barrel.
Some of it's the barrel. I mean, it's a selection of all the various components. So it basically comes from our background of that precision manufacturing. So the upper, the lower, every single component that we have goes through our quality control process. We have a CMM machine from Zeiss that literally every component gets inspected on to verify that it's going to perform that way. And then the barrel, which we do have made for us, that's why we have to, once we put everything together, we'll do a final test.
Yep,
before we send it out.
We've been talking with a number of different guests about America's Rifle Challenge and how this is initially designed for the one owner who went out and got an AR rifle of some description and took it home and maybe put it in the closet, took it to the range, got a zero on it, and then doesn't really know what else to do with it.
Yeah.
Maybe this is a way to get into competition. Your brand sounds a little more aspirational. How does that fit?
So you can still take even our lower end rifles and go to these competitions. Oh, yeah. You don't have to go and spend, MSRP I want to say is around $2,400 for our competition level rifle.
Okay.
So it's not like even that's a far reach for some people. But we basically, I really like the AR challenge from the standpoint of, I was literally at a dinner about a month ago and talking to a pilot that was with us, and he's like, yeah, I have a brand new AR. I took it out to the range, exactly what you just said, shot it, and now I don't know what to do with it, right? Like, I'm like, okay. So when we started talking with Chad and so forth, it was really, hey, this is a way for us to really give back, not only as a company, but I'm a big proponent of the competition. Obviously, that's my background. So I was really excited about hearing about this and saying, hey, this is a way that I can now tell people, hey, we can go out, and you can now use that to just more than just, oh, you zeroed it, great, now it sits in a safe, and it's a safe queen, and nothing else happens with that rifle.
Are we doing shooter ready?
Competitor then.
Competitor?
Yeah, they don't want to use shooter.
The shooter sounds like when you hear about shooter flash like start on top of it. In order to start it, you just shoot the array ARC. You need to raise off the bottom. Okay. So just start it and then go. We'll start it and then it'll count down. Okay.
Nice.
Right. Wait, coming out of that precision background, knowing a sub MOA guarantee on a gas gun, that puts you in a really solid position competitively here, especially when you get into the level 2 and you start looking at 200, 300, 400, 500 yard shots.
Yeah. And we've taken we have a video up on YouTube where we basically show that we have our recon rifle, which is our kind of our mid-level rifle,
Okay.
and we had it out at 500 yards, and we were able to get on a plate at half MOA shooting at it. So even that rifle, which is just a standard 16-inch barrel, it's our barrel, but it's we've done some things, but it's
We've done some
we've
things.
done some things, but even that barrel, we've been able to get half MOA groups out of that gun.
That's absolutely fantastic.
So yeah, it's we're really excited about all the products, and again, it really just comes from a passion for accuracy. I mean, everything that we do, we're always trying to make things better. Really, just trying to look for any little thing that we can kind of creep out of, getting a little bit more out of that rifle. We continue to try to improve upon it. So.
Yeah. So in-house, you're building uppers and lowers,
And handguards, yep, and the handguards as well.
and then sourcing the barrels.
Source the barrels, and basically our goal is that we continue to buy machines. We just expanded our facility. And we now are making our muzzle brakes will be introduced next month. So we have our own muzzle brake that we're making, and then we're continuing to add products basically to bring things in-house.
Brilliant. I want to ask about the half MOA gun at 500, and you mentioned factory ammo. That's got to be like a Hornady or something like that. Something.
No, PMC 77 grain. Yeah, with
Okay.
with Sierra Match King, I think is what they use in the PMC, but it's a PMC. Yeah, and we've used some Federal as well. On some of them depends. Sometimes it's a little hard to get different ammo. So,
Sure.
and we try to change it to that we're not always using the same thing to know that it's consistent. Because some barrels can be very picky on like what ammo they kind of like. So we want to make sure that you don't need to necessarily have a specific one. We tell you what we shot it at when we got that group,
Yes.
but we want to know that it's working consistently with other ammos as well.
I think it's interesting that 70 plus, 72, in some cases 77, like you mentioned. That's going to be your long range selection, and then in the closer run and gun portions, perhaps you've loaded a mag with some 55s.
55s. That's what we typically test. We have a range so every rifle gets tested before every rifle gets tested and shot, just for functionality and so forth.
Right.
So we'll test that, and we do that with 55 grain just to verify everything is functional and correct with the 55s.
Excellent. One of the points that I've been making throughout these interviews is that, get your rifle, whatever the rifle is, get to one of these events, learn about it, enjoy yourself, meet some people, take a look at what they're using, see what works well in your package that you have, and find out what maybe could be a little bit better. It sounds like this, though, is an opportunity for somebody to go already with something that's going to be better, that will literally outshoot them.
Yeah, for the most part, and I don't like to say that, but yeah, I mean,
Okay.
from the standpoint, it's,
Sorry, I take that back.
it's never the gun, right? Or, so a lot of that comes from, and I really again like the fact of the whole competition. I like to train a lot of people, so I've trained a number of SWAT teams and so forth, more on the bolt action type of rifles and so forth, and a lot of us shoot competitively in our group of friends. So this is kind of just going out and then saying, hey, what can we bring back? Again, I've always been a big proponent of we have to give back to the community, but we also have to get more younger people involved with shooting. If we're not there, and I used to belong to, sat on the board of a local skeet and trap, and it just amazes me how some boards aren't willing to realize that, look, if you sit there and you don't bring in youth and you don't bring in new shooters and welcome them and find ways of welcoming them into the community, we're going to have issues, right? So you're basically losing the battle through just attrition of shooters that are out there. So very important to continue to give back and make sure that we continue to get more people interested in a great field, a great sport. I mean, it's super exciting. I mean, sometimes the first time you get somebody on steel at a couple hundred yards, you just see their smile and just they just light up, and it's just the best feeling in the world when you see them.
I couldn't agree more. It is an exciting time. It's exciting to know the NRA is refocused on the shooting sports and the value of the shooting sports, not only to benefit the industry as a whole, but to benefit all of us as Americans, as law-abiding gun owners. And the value of the shooting sports is something we built our brand on. Obviously, you recognize it. It's a great time to be involved.
Yeah, and we have our own podcast, Accuracy Matters, and we were talking about the NRA specifically because a lot of we shoot in the PRS, Precision Rifles series a lot, and a lot of them have a negative outlook on the NRA, and the goal is, and I like what Bill has been able to do and so forth, and kind of refocusing it. And the first thing you have to do is realize where your mistake is or where your faults are in order to fix yourself, right? So if you don't know where your mistake or where you have room for improvement, you're never gonna get anywhere. But to acknowledge the fact that, hey, look, we have to go back and re-energize the NRA and prove ourselves of what we're going to do and how we're going to do it, and that we're there for this community, which I think he's doing a great job of. And I think we'll get that turnaround. Yep. And that's my hope, is that we see the NRA come back as a much bigger, stronger. And again, talking to some of these younger shooters, that it's about like, hey, why aren't you a part of the NRA? And it was always like, well, I don't really know what it does for me. Well, we need to get back and tell them what it does for them and why it's so important to be a member. Absolutely.
Tell people how to find out more about 360 Precision and the Accuracy Matters podcast.
So you can go on. We're on YouTube. So you can go to the Accuracy Matters 360 Precision. You can also go Spotify. You can find us if you're just listening in your car. You want to just listen to audio only.
Right.
I will say it's funnier on maybe YouTube a little bit to see it. But and then you can go to our website to find us, 360precision.com, and learn more about the company and so everything we do.
Links in the description below. Thanks again for the time.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you for having me. It's been great.
Well done.
Let's go! Let's go! Let's go!
All right, so here we're at the ZCO booth, Zero Compromise Optics, and this we're holding right now is their 2-10 scope. It's the ZC210. This has been out for a little bit of a time now, but it's really just, if you're looking at an AR platform, this is really a great scope. Again, it's 2-10. You have a 30 mil tube. It still uses the same eyepiece, so this is what I'm really a big fan of, is this from a standpoint of your eye box and so forth. This solution just makes it a perfect scope that I really love. On this one, all the controls and so forth, the saddle, same size on all this, but really a great option from this standpoint. They also are going to be introducing this scope, which is, they have the ZC420. This is going to be the 420 Hunter. A couple different reticles that you can have with this. You have couple different features here that are different for a hunter. Your illumination is here as opposed to up on the dial. This is, again, it's 4 to 20. Smaller saddle. If you look here, comparing the two, you can see how they've shrunk this weight. There's not an official release on the weight yet, but we're looking for somewhere around 30 ounces for this scope to be at, which is a significant reduction in weight compared to the original ZC 4 to 20. So yeah, really a great scope if you're looking for that hunter lighter scope functionality. It has some, like I said, some new reticles that are going to be in this scope. So I would definitely come check this out. You do have, it has locking turret here. You do have a capped windage. So if we take this off, you can see here, we have a capped windage, which is nice, again, for that hunting aspect. But overall, just again, another quality build out of ZCO, and would highly recommend checking this one out. Hi, I'm Dan Cohen with 360 Precision, and here today we're at the MDT booth, and I'm talking with Francis from MDT. How's it going, bud?
Good, Dan. It's always good to see you, man.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. So
I've got
what
a
do we?
couple of your ARs. Love them.
Yes.
They're fun. So, new for this year, you'll see it available in production sometime between April and May if things stay on track, is the DRT.
Okay.
It stands for, obviously, dead right there. We looked at the landscape that we have for products and said, hey, if you said I want something competitive, it's going to be generally aluminum. If you said I want something hunting, it's generally going to be carbon.
Right.
But that line is kind of arbitrary and doesn't really make a lot of sense. So we wanted to build the most technologically advanced metal hybrid chassis system that we could. That's what the DRT is designed for.
Okay.
This takes all of the learnings that we have for a precision rifle system for elite competitors like PRS, NRL Hunter, and all of the learnings we have from carbon fiber and sort of structurally difficult to work with products,
Right.
and turn that into something that you can own the night with. It's designed as a integral folder that's 3.1 pounds
Wow.
with a carbon fiber grip, a Type 3 anodized coplanar rail, Type 3 anodized coplanar Arca rail as well, with Arca lock, R-lock,
Right.
and integral M-lock through the bottom, so that you maintain rigidity and stiffness through the magnesium core and buttstock, so that you have all of the features with none of the weight. And what really makes this thing unique is that it's built around the idea that if you have a standard optic system with a thermal, it can
Right.
be very difficult to A, get them to co-witness, and B, to be precise. Where you're on a tripod, you get flex, you can shift your thermal. It can be an absolute pain. So
Right.
we wanted to design something that takes night hunting, coyote hunting, pig hunting, mountain hunting, backcountry hunting, where you're going to put things through the ringer and make a durable system that weighs as little as it could,
Right.
while also being as durable as any of our competition systems.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so it's one of the favorite products I have to shoot. I've been testing it, and the really interesting fun fact on this was a concept as we were driving to SHOT Show 1 year ago.
Really?
Exactly 1 year ago.
1 year ago.
And we've
That
had
was the
this,
thought.
and here we are. So yeah, DRT, 3.1 pounds. It's 2.7 without the top rail, so it's very light. And obviously, it can be used for anything from competitor looking for sportsmen,
Right.
general hunter,
Right.
to say ruck matches like Mammoth, going into the operational field, Leo systems who need something lighter and more compact for the back speed and the lockbox. That can work as well. And then it goes all the way into the field for just traditional hunters who need something, one chassis to do it all.
Yeah. It's great that it's a folder too for
Yeah.
at the weight point that you're looking at, right? Because
Exactly.
normally you add a folder, you're adding a lot of weight to that.
Generally speaking, that's true. Yeah, we actually did redesign this. So this folder system has 2 screws on the top so that we can adjust the tension. We'll see, we have one more working version, but basically we can adjust the tension so that the amount of force it
Needed.
takes to keep it open or closed can be adjusted to the user as needed. So
All right.
honestly, it's been a very cool project to work on. It has one really neat feature for night hunters as well, or hunters in general. So it features our competition adjustable mag well and
Okay.
mag lock, mag latch, but it also has a lockout. So if you put your mag in and you're going to go on a trek and you've got this slung onto a tripod over your shoulder, you can catch a mag and drop a mag
Yeah.
in the field, and good luck finding it. You've got nods on,
Yep.
you're not going to find it. So we have a lockout that we have in our hunting bottom metal. We included that in the chassis so that you can keep your mag in place. So no more press check and there's no mag. So
Gotcha. Nice.
very cool system. Check it out at mdttac.com. We should see it available for retail sometime between sometime around April to May.
Okay.
But we're in the final processes right now.
Great.
Yeah. With that, we're
All right.
gonna go swing over. Let's go take a look
All
at a
right.
few buttstocks. But this is
Sounds
really
good.
neat. And do you use a SkyPod on your
Oh,
rifles?
100%.
Yeah. So it's funny because when I started, I ran Atlas and Harris and all of the other stuff. that
Right.
We've now used, and I've moved solely to this bipod. What makes the Gen 3 different? I mean, what makes the SkyPod a SkyPod is simply its dynamicism. You can go from about 17 inches tall all the way out to about 5 inches very quickly.
Right.
So the versatility that this thing offers from its overall form factor and speed now is unrivaled. So what the major changes that happen with the SkyPod in the Gen 3, we have an all new 3-position head. It's BT17 compatible, so we can take the top, swap out a head. If you have a different head that you really want to run, you pull it off and put it on.
Okay.
So make it compatible with your favorite head. On top of that, we retain the same tension system for cant, so that this should be a set it once and forget it.
Right.
And there are some bipods that are great, that are legendary, that have been out there for a long time, but you can, is every time you torque the rifle, you have to kind of get back
Right,
in and
get a
torque
little
it
bit
down, you get that
tighter.
ratcheting effect.
Yep.
That doesn't happen with the SkyPod. So once you find that perfect amount of cant tension, it stays. On top of that, we added bigger controls.
Yeah,
you
that's
can
nice.
see
The old
these
little
large
knobs. Yep.
knurled, oversized CNC aluminum knobs. The same thing on the back. We have much larger detent pin buttons with about 80% stronger pins.
Okay.
So if you run this a lot, or anybody who's familiar with this, run this, the force to engage the pin was pretty light, and you could, maybe it feels like they don't want to lock back up, or they could get gritty
They
or
get,
muddy
yeah,
if you get a little
dirty.
dirt.
Yep.
That's no longer a thing. It's just, you got to press it with some authority. It drops down, press the rear pins, and they splay back and they lock in place. So no price change on these, but there's one important feature that anybody who's run a SkyPod for a long time knows of. You pull your SkyPod out of your bag. If you've ever seen a SkyPod doing this, those days are over. You can lock out your SkyPod. The very top position actually has a lock. It doesn't allow it to just automatically
Pull
deploy.
open.
But you can detent it one down.
Okay.
Now
Now it
just
pulls.
runs fine. And if you're NRL hunter, you have to have it fully stowed. Is that you can just print a circlip and a little clip that goes over here so that it is fully collapsed. It's up against the top of that clip,
Yeah.
and it'll keep it here so you can fully deploy it. And now just flick, pull, pull,
And you're ready to go.
and you're in the fight, ready to ride. So it's a super versatile bipod. We made a lot of improvements. It's all black, nitric oxide, all black nitride
Nitride.
coatings. On top of that, we did remove the grip tape. We went to a knurling. It's embedded, so it's more durable, and it offers the right amount of grip. So we're on a tire, it still bites, but it doesn't grab soft stuff. It doesn't grab, trees and brushes and shrubs and kind of flick branches everywhere. So it's both the right amount of grip now.
Right.
So
Very nice.
these are available single, double, and triple pull anytime you need one.
And no panning, right?
And no pan. Yeah, we removed the pan. And we've gotten this question a lot. Why did you remove the pan? And the main reason is that if you lock a rifle into ARCA, and even if this is locked out, there's still a little bit of pan pivot that you could get. So if you imagine a rifle recoiling, while the bullet's still in the bore, if the rifle doesn't recoil perfectly straight rearward,
Right.
we get a little bit of bore axis movement. The bullet doesn't land where it's supposed to. By eliminating the pan, the only movement you're going to get is what is built into the bipod to start. If you have pan and you pick it 45 off and you pivot, you actually see the rifle fall away from that pan. So essentially, you can create a scenario when you use a panning feature that will cause it's harder to shoot the rifle precisely.
Right.
And we don't want that, right? We want to make sure our products are always helping a shooter put rounds on target. This is how we want to do it.
Beautiful. Good explanation.
Last, we have the LSS Gen 3. So we introduced this last year at SHOT Show, but the LSS Gen 3 represents our most modular chassis system. It's a core built around your action. You can change the fore end by taking off these panels and go to any of the fore ends that we offer, including a carbon fiber fore end as well. But the back end of the buttstock, any of our XTN interface buttstocks will fit onto this LSS. And what's new for this year specifically is this, the Stalker Core. The Stalker is designed to be our fastest, low profile, easy to use buttstock. It's got a very short length of pull, capable of being down to about 11 to 12 inches. So if you have an SBR or a pistol and you just need something to quickly engage small, rapid targets, this is your buttstock. if you have kids and you want to build out something for kids, and you have a 22 like a Voodoo, this will go down to 11 inches, so it's very easy for them to get behind the rifle. It does have access to an aftermarket or to a cheek system, a cheek riser system, so you could put on our cheek risers as well as butt pad spacers, as you can see down here, and half-inch increments. We wanted this to be both economical and easy to get into, but also very functional, which is where added function comes in. And we have our new XTN to XTN folder adapter and XTN to pick adapter. We can now turn any of our XTN buttstocks into a folder with an adapter. Single-sided, lock, and now we have hyper-compact folder system, fold away from the bolt. It's reversible if you're a lefty, so we can take any system, any buttstock, it's XTN, and turn it into a friction-based folder with just one metal. And it's extremely robust, a little overbuilt. We didn't want to have something that didn't stay and maintain lockdown.
Yeah.
So
You get some abuse too, right?
they do, yeah. When you use them hard, they can start to wobble, and that was, again, we know what precision means. Precision means that everything about the system moves in one piece, or it doesn't move.
Right.
So if this system had any wobble or play to it, it's not going to be good for us. So we wanted to make sure we over-designed it, and that's exactly what we did. So it's a steel construction designed to outlast you.
Beautiful.
So
Very nice.
yeah, man.
This is a judge.